And here we are, part 13. In this part, I'm going to start working on texturing the model. So before I get into that, I want to go in and make sure all my seams are where they need to be. And looks like I'm all good so far. Sometimes when you put seams around loops and things, if it's not a perfect loop, sometimes you'll miss it. And oh, there we go. Looks like I missed this one right here. Okay, E. Oops. Undo that. I don't want to extrude. I want to Control E. Mark the seam. Okay. Everything else good? Seems like. Okay, just a quick once over. Make sure everything's all set. Alright. Now, what I'm going to do, since the modeling is done, hopefully, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this mirror modifier. So, okay, got to come out of edit mode first. Okay, now I'm going to apply it. Now this is the model. This is turn off subsurf, you know. It's the model. I applied the mirror and it's on there now. So we're all set. Okay, turn back on subsurf. He's prettier that way. Okay, now let's get started on that texture finally. I'm going to split this area right here, and I'm going to go to the UV image editor, and over here in the 3D viewport I'm going to go to texture paint, and then I'm going to pop into tab into the editor, edit mode, and I'm going to hit A, select all. Come back over to my UV editor, hit the UVs down here, and I want to unwrap, and it's going to unwrap everything. And you'll notice, and I'm going to maximize this, Control up arrow, and that makes this 100% of the screen. Quick little tidbit of information. Select all four corners of this blue area, because that's the items that don't have seams, like we didn't put seams around the teeth. So this is where the teeth will be mapped to. So I'm just going to scale that down, move it over out of the way. Just get it out. Doesn't need to be big at all, just because we'll probably won't even use texture mapping for that. We'll probably just use a solid off-white color for that. Okay, now let's start rearranging this a little bit more neatly. And it looks like this is the back. And since, okay, yeah, I'll do this on the back, but on the front I'll need to keep it. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. On this, since the back is going to be the same left and right, I can select half of the coordinates and scale them, S, on the x-axis, -1, and that just mirrors it. Go ahead and click out, and I'm going to G, just drag it over and put it directly on top. So now I don't have to map the whole thing, I just have to do half. I just folded it over on top, so it's just going to duplicate that over. And since it's just going to be a basic color, not much detail, I'll go and just scale it down a little bit. Now this is the front side over here. And we might want to, I think I'm going to go ahead and put a logo, maybe the Blender logo, on his chest. So we'll need to keep that pretty well. We won't half it, we won't cut it in half like we did the back, just scale it down a little bit. Maybe not, let's see. If we're going to have that logo, it's going to need to be pretty sharp, so I'll just maybe scale it up a little bit. And I'll move it up off the bottom here after I get everything arranged. Where's the face? Here's the face. Okay. Select a few of them, Control L, selects the rest of them. Just move that guy up, and let's put him down here. Scale him way up. A little oblong it looks, so I'm going to scale him a little bit on the x-axis, a little bigger. And go ahead and scale him way up. The face is where most of the detail is going to go. And here's the back of the head. It doesn't need to be that big because it's not going to have all the detail that the face will have. So I'll just make it roughly just big enough to add some color to. Okay, what else we got? Okay, here looks like Looks like the top of the hands. Now this could be the same thing as we did with the back. I'm just going to select everything, scale it on the x-axis, -1 times. That's the same as mirroring it or flipping it. And I'm just going to put it over the other half, the other hand. So we only have to put one hand map on our UV map here. I'm going to scale it up just a little bit. Okay, and where's the bottom of the hand? Here it is. Same thing here. Select a few of them, Control L, SX, -1, enter, drag it over, and rotate it until it fits perfectly on top. Okay, select a few of them, Control L, move that over here to join the other hand. Go and scale it up to be roughly the same size. Okay, what else we got? Okay, this looks like one of the legs. No, I did. You know what? The legs are part of the model. Usually I cut the legs off. So what is this? Let's see. This is... I don't know what this is. So I tell you what. Let's do. Control down minimizes that screen. Now let's just select pieces of it until it looks like we get whatever that thing is. What could that be? No. Perhaps it's a boot. Maybe it's... Yeah, that's what it is. It's a boot. At the top of the boot, maybe. Let's see. Get this. Yeah. Select all that. Control L. Nothing. This is a boot. Well, I thought I had it. Maybe it's the leg. Well, this is embarrassing. Let's see, just select this whole thing. Well, it's in there somewhere. Let's select all this, Control L. But that's not it. Oh, it's the back of the boot. That's what it is. Okay. And one easy thing you can do to select all of that segment rather than trying to select, you know, everything on that model like that, like usual. Just select a face inside that seam and Control L, and it only selects the faces that are outlined by the seam. So there we go. So that's the back of the boot. That's what that is. Okay, go ahead and maximize that. Mystery solved. Here's the other side. Bring that up. Same thing. SX -1. Drag it over and rotate it till it fits perfectly. Okay, now it's up here, and I guess this would therefore be the front of the boot. Scale it. Oops. Got my buttons out of order. SX -1. Scaling on the x-axis -100%. There we go. Get it lined up. Okay. Control L. Zoom out. Bring it up there. Let's go ahead and scale that up. I want to put a little, maybe a few details on the boot. We'll see. Control L. Maybe I'll just go with a basic colors or something. Maybe a leathery look, something like that. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, and I guess this would be the bottom of the boot. Bring it over. Grab the other one. Control L. SX -1. Actually, on this one, we can do SY -1, and it'll just flip it vertically. And then we can put it up there. Since it's already rotated. As long as you get a flipped image of some sort. Go ahead and rotate that. Okay. Now, let's see, what else do we got? Looks like here's the fingernails. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 and 10. Grab these guys, move them over. And one other trick, well, same trick I guess, just copied over and over. Since all the nails are going to be the same color and everything, I'm just going to make one nail grab all the other ones and just put them on top of that one nail, and then I just have to, when I go to texture map, I just have to do one, and it gets duplicated over and over across all 10 fingernails. Now these don't have to line up exactly perfect, just as long as the basic coordinates are correct. We should be fine. Scale it up. This one's shaped a little differently. I'll go ahead and change its shape real quick. Okay. Excuse me. Control L, select all those. And this one also has a strange shape. It's probably the mirrored half of whatever the previous one was. Scale that guy up. Okay, almost there. This gets really tedious if you build toes as well. You also want the toenails, so you also have to do this for 20 total nails rather than just the 10 that I'm doing here. So, not to discourage you, if you want to make a barefoot character, you're gonna need to do the toes. So you just do it the same as I've done the fingers. So okay, now we got all our toes down. Fingernails done. Let's move that over here. Go ahead and scale it up. See what we're doing later. Now, what else we got? Looks like this is going to be the belt. I'll just move it over here out of the way. Don't need a lot of detail. I'll just scale it up just in case we want to put some holes in it or something like that. Probably won't, but we'll see. And this looks like the ear. Control L. I'm going to rotate that a little bit so it's a little more straight. Scale it up some. Rotate a little more. Grab the other ear. Go ahead and scale it on the x-axis, -1 times. Just to get it over there. Scale it up. Okay. Grab all those. And let's move it over by the side of the head. We'll make it a little bigger. Okay. Now what else do we got? What are these? This, I believe, is the belt. Grab it. Belt buckle, I mean. You know, just move it up there. Scale it up some. Might want to put a logo on it as well. Okay. I guess these are the gloves. So this would probably be the top of the glove. Move it over here. Rotate a little bit. This one. Rotate. Scale it on the x-axis. -1. Move it over. Zoom in. And there we go. Okay, let's move it over here. Scale it up just a little bit. Okay, same thing with the bottom of the glove. SX -1. Move it over. Position it right on top. Scale everything. Scale it up. Over. Okay, and what do we got left? I guess this is the inside of the mouth. Just move this over because it's all going to be one basic color, maybe with a little bit of a gradient to it. Select that, move it over, rotate it. Okay, let's see, let's just put this over here by the ear, scale it up just a little. And now the tongue, scale it up. Oops, scale it up, there we go. A little bit more. Okay, now we got everything basically the right size. I'm going to go ahead and make the front of the body a little bigger. Move it on the screen completely. As you can see, I must have missed another edge there, but that's okay this time. It just connects the sole of the foot with the actual the rest of the map. That's okay. And I want to just select these guys, Control L, move them out of the way, make the face come up a little bit, get it out of the way too, and Control L, move this guy, scale him up just a little bit. Okay, we got a lot of empty space here, but that's fine. It's better to have too much than not enough. Okay, so we're pretty much done rearranging our UV map. Just go ahead and minimize again and select everything. And I want to, this time I want to go to, let's see, image, UVs. Okay, click on UVs again, go up to scripts, and a little pop out will say save UV face layout. And that's the one you want. And you want to make it pretty good size. 512 is kind of small. I like to do at least 2000 when I'm going with high-res characters, but since this is not a real high-res character, let's just go with 1500. And I'm going to say OK. Okay, now it pops up down here. Where do I want to save it? I'm just going to save it in the same folder that the model is in, and I'm going to rename it to texture_map. And the default file format is TGA. So I'm going to save that. And OK. Now, alright, go ahead and tab out, go back into object mode, save my guy, save, and now I'm going to bring up my Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, you might have GIMP or something else similar. Hopefully you can still follow along. I'm going to open, go on to where I'm creating him. Where am I creating him? Right here? Yes. Texture map. And since we started with a plane, it goes ahead and throws a plane name after it. Texture map underscore plane. So I'll go ahead and just click on there and take that underscore plane off. We don't need that. Okay, so click the texture map, open. And it brings it up in Photoshop. Now, a few Photoshop tricks I like to do. I guess I can consider this a Photoshop tutorial also. Just double click on my background over my layers here, and it creates it as a normal layer rather than background. And I just click and drag it up above. I'm using Photoshop CS2, by the way. A little behind the times, but it works for me. Okay, so now I'm going to lock that layer 0. Actually, unlock it. I'm going to go up to multiply. And now I'll lock it. So now, any work I do underneath it, it's going to show up on top of it. So I want to draw, get my pen tool, and I want to draw a nice royal blue, a little bit cerulean. That was my favorite crayon as a child. So I'm going to make him cerulean, and luckily for me, it's kind of the color Blender uses in their logo, orange and blue. So I'm just going to draw around the shape of his body map. And click. And now you can see, since I made this layer have a multiply blending mode, it shows up on top. And since it was white, that's why it shows up as transparent. So now, if I just turn that off, I can go Control-Shift-S, and I want to save it as a JPEG. And I'm just going to say it wants to name it a copy, so I just want texture_map and save. And then we'll make it a fairly good quality, so I'm going to go ahead and max it out at 12 quality. Hit OK. Now, pop back into Blender. Where am I at? Here I am. And let's go to the shading buttons. You can hit F5 or just click on the little tab here. And we're going to add a new material. And I want to go to the texture buttons right here. It's F6. Add a new one. Click on the drop down, drop up, whatever. And I want it to be an image. And now I'm going to click load. And it pops up, where am I bringing it from? And I'm bringing it from exactly where it's at already. Texture map, JPEG. Select that image. And you can see the only thing we've done so far is just add that blue part to the front of the body. And so now I go over back into the material buttons and come over here to where it says map input. Click on that, and I want it to go through UV. And now, if I pop into camera mode, hit 0 on my numpad, just grab that and drag it down some. And let's select shaded. Is that going to show us anything? Yes. You can see that that front blue part that we colored, it's perfectly aligned with that seam all the way down. Bring that light in front of it so you can see it a little bit better. It's going to let me. Come on. Come on, CPU. There you go. We done? There we go. Okay. Now you can see. It put that blue across where we had that mapped out. Okay. Well, that's good for now. When we come back to part 14, we will continue working on the texture map. So, hope you learned something, and I will see you in part 14.